Hello, hiring committee for the music teaching position at Mastway Elementary School. My name is Roxanne O'Connor, and I'm really excited for the opportunity to apply for this position. I am a mother of two. I am a pug mom, a Zumba instructor, a snowboarder, an avid reader, and among other things, I am a music teacher.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Be ready. It means when you are here that your mind, your mood, your body, they are calm and they are clear.
Both of my parents are musicians. My dad was a teacher. He was a case manager at Central in Manchester, but he still plays in a band. He's retired now, but he still plays in a band. And my mom is a oncology research nurse at Dana-Farber, but she also played music for fun. She plays guitar and sings for fun. So I grew up in a musical household. My parents had me start taking piano lessons when I was in second grade. I liked piano. And then when I was in high school, I started singing and taking voice lessons, and I loved singing. As a senior in high school, I thought that I would be a vocal performance major. But then for my senior project at Bow High School, I started a choir for non-singers. The choir at our high school was sort of serious and competitive, and I felt like it wasn't welcoming to people who didn't already have musical experience. So my project was to start a choir for beginners. And I enjoyed that project so much that I decided to change my major to music education.
Be a thinker. Please turn that brain on. It means that when I'm singing, pay attention to my song.
So I have some really strong feelings about why music education is an important part of an elementary school curriculum. I think that music is a part of human expression, and getting students started with music and giving them a love of and appreciation for music can provide them a coping mechanism and an outlet for when they need it in their lives. And my hope is that having an outlet like that would allow students to choose music as a coping mechanism instead of choosing something that maybe wouldn't be a healthy choice. And I hope that for all the specials. So maybe their outlet isn't going to be music. Maybe they're going to cope with art. Maybe they're going to cope by going for a run. I hope that within each of the specials in elementary school, a seed is planted within a student that's going to grow into an ability to cope with emotional challenges. My hope is that my students will grow into musical adults. I understand that a small percentage of my students will go on to join performing ensembles, and then an even smaller percentage of my students will go on to study music in college. My end goal isn't to create music majors. My end goal is to create musical adults. Adults who can sing happy birthday, adults who can comfortably dance at their wedding, adults who can sing their babies to sleep.
Be considerate. It means you should be kind. Do you only think about yourself or keep others in?
I am high energy, I am positive, I am empathetic. I'm extroverted and I enjoy spending time with others. I make an effort to be encouraging and supportive of both my students and my colleagues. I asked my teammates to answer this question, the question being, what makes me a great teammate? And they obliged. They were kind to me. Here's what they said: that I recognize the value of all the curriculum and support the work of other teachers with collaboration. For example, every year with the librarian, I read a Ladybug book, and I always try to make it musical. I even wrote a song for one of the Ladybug books that my students loved. If you've ever read Can I Be Your Dog, I wrote this song to go with Can I Be Your Dog. Can I be your dog? Can I be your dog? I have a bone, but it needs a home. Can I be your dog? Can I be your dog? Can I be your dog? I can clean the floor and so much more. Can I be your dog? I know everyone on Butternut Street, but I want to live with you because I think you're sweet. I'm a good dog, I can fetch your stuff. Is that enough? Can I be your dog? Can I be your dog? I have a bone, but it needs a home. Can I be your dog? So the kids love that song and it gets them excited about reading, and I take full responsibility for Can I Be Your Dog winning the Ladybug Book Award that year. I also each year work with fourth grade on their New Hampshire history play. With their classroom teachers, the students write a skit based on New Hampshire history, and I teach them some traditional New Hampshire folk songs, and then they incorporate those folk songs into their play, which is a really cool example of how I do project-based learning in music class and how I collaborate with my coworkers. I also am on our school's universal team, which means like the universal rules that all of the kids in our school are going to follow. We're working on implementing multi-tiered systems of support for behavior into our school, which, in case you haven't heard of that, it's similar to I'm sure you have the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 for math and reading. And so we're also working on implementing tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 for behavior and for social and emotional learning. And I wrote a song for that one too that the kids really like. Be ready, it means when you are here that your mind, your mood, your body, they are calm and they are clear. I won't sing the whole thing, but it goes through each of the habits that we've decided are important to us. Be ready, be a thinker, be considerate, and contribute. And I try in the song to help the kids understand what those mean and put it in kid-friendly language. I also support new teachers by sharing my time and expertise and by hosting student teachers. I've had 3 student teachers and I love them all very dearly. And one of them is finishing her student teaching right now, but the other 2 are both successful music teachers. Yay!
Please contribute. It means participate. It means to add, don't take it back.
My first experience teaching music was my internship at Horn Street Elementary School in Dover with Diane Spires. My connection with Diane is ultimately what brought me to Lee Church Congregational a couple years later, and I ended up being first the junior choir director, and then when Diane retired, I was also the senior choir director at Lee Church Congregational. And I resigned that job when I started my family just because at the time I was commuting an hour to Bow, and I just didn't have enough time to spend with my kids. But I still do a lot of work with Lee Church with their music programs and their kids programs. After I finished my student teaching, Horn Street School hired me as a para, and I worked there as a para until I got a part-time job teaching here where I am right now at Bow Elementary School. At the time, Bow Elementary School had a full-time and a part-time specialist for art, music, and PE because they had so many students. The year that I was here, their enrollment started going down and they actually eliminated all of those part-time positions. So that first year teaching music was a one-year gig. I ended up staying in touch with the music teacher, the full-time music teacher, Joanne Williamson, who was here at the time, and that's how I ended up here right now. After that part-time gig was eliminated, I worked part-time at St. Bonnie School. St. Bonnie School is a small private school up in Sanbornton, New Hampshire. At St. Bonnie School, I taught K-5 general music, and then I also did some really fun electives with the older students, like a drum circle and an a cappella choir. The year after I taught at St. Bonnie School, I was hired full-time in Pittsfield, at Pittsfield Elementary School. In Pittsfield, I taught music K-6, and that's the 2 years that I was there. I also taught 5th and 6th grade band. I really liked working in Pittsfield. I was happy there. I wasn't looking for a job, but at the end of my second year in Pittsfield, I got an email from Joanne Williamson, who had been the full-time music teacher in Bow, saying she was retiring and she thought that I should apply for this position. So I've been here in Bow for the last 6 years. I teach K-4 in Bow. I also work part-time for Arts and Reach, which is a nonprofit organization on the Seacoast that offers free arts education to teens in the area, and that job is really near and dear to my heart and really fun. I work over the summer with them at a songwriting camp, and I also help them with different things throughout the year, like I take the teens caroling at Strawberry Bank, and I occasionally will help the teens get ready for fundraisers if they want to sing at one of their fundraisers. So that job is really special and important to me also.
Be ready. Be a thinker.
So I thought it might be interesting for you to see how I've been using Seesaw with my students. I have a couple ways that I use it. First of all, currently I'm using it for my 4th graders for their concert practice. So each 4th grader has a Seesaw activity with their part. And then for some of them, I was also able to record myself saying their part for them. For example, I'm looking for one where I help them. So for this one, you can hear me letting the student know how their part goes. Hey, Erin, so your line has some singing in it. The singing part is going to sound like this. Funga alafi. So that student is able to practice at home. And I emailed all of the parents letting them know, hey, your student has this activity available to them in Seesaw. And then also, in case kids don't have access to Seesaw at home, which they don't all do, I know not everybody has a device that they're able to take home. Our kids aren't taking home their Chromebooks anymore. So I also created Google Docs for each fourth grade student. I printed those and handed them out in class so the kids actually have a paper to copy, but it is nice for them to be able to hear their parts, especially in a part that has some unusual words or some singing in it, so they can practice that melody. Also, Seesaw became a really great tool for my team for assessments this year. So I was able to use them. Let me find the one I'm looking for. I was able to use them. Here we go. So we shared this with families. Instead of sending home a physical report card, we shared a letter with families saying, this is what we're working on in this grade in music. And then I also had my assessments up. So here's an example of an assessment that I was doing that's very simple. Beautiful. A. Squeeze tight and blow soft. Good. And add one more for a G. Yeah. So you can see right there, that's something that a parent would get in the place of a report card so they can actually hear how their student is doing. So that's how I've been using Seesaw this year. And it's actually my favorite way of assessing ever because I feel like it's so much more authentic than saying, okay, your student's getting a 3 in music. It's actually showing this is how your student is literally doing in music. So I've really enjoyed using Seesaw this year. It's one of my favorite new tools. I am a hard worker. It's a part of my identity. I love my job and it's important to me to do it to the best of my ability. I don't like to take shortcuts and I frequently irritate my team by doing more than what is asked of me, like writing every student a comment on the report card. They've told me they wish I wouldn't do that. I would love to bring my energy and my work ethic to Mastway. I want to thank you so much for your time and for your consideration. I look forward to hearing from you.